Many of you would know J.K. Rowling. She's the one who wrote the Harry Potter series. She's become the second richest female in the world next to Oprah. That is a pretty amazing achievement. However, when she first wrote her first book in the Harry Potter series, she was rejected by 12 publishers. They turned her down. Finally, a small publisher embraced the book, a company called Bloomsbury, and these were their words to her: keep your day job. So she continued to keep her day job. She was going through tremendous difficulties. She had gone through a divorce. She was living in a very tiny flat with her daughter. She was living on government subsidy, and she had just lost her mom to multiple sclerosis. She got down in that flat and began to write. She used all the pain in her life and the problems in her life. She poured them into the book, and ultimately she made a success, and the books took off. And today her brand is worth $15 billion. How many of you know that's a pretty amazing achievement? The reason she was so successful and fruitful is she did one thing that many of us have to do as believers. She saw beyond her circumstances. She saw not only the visible, but she saw the invisible. So this morning I want to speak to you about seeing beyond the visible. Seeing beyond the visible. When you begin to see beyond the visible, you're living the true spirit-filled life, and you begin to experience things in your life that are powerful. Let me give you 3 truths this morning as we prepare to get to the core of the message. Firstly, here's a truth: what we see determines what we can be. You will never be what you cannot see. You have to see with the eye of the Spirit what you can be. If you can't see it, chances are you won't be it. You'll never be confident and successful unless you see it on the inside. If you don't see yourself getting over your personal problems on the inside, you will never get over them on the outside. Isn't that true? So what you see is what you can be, and you have to begin to see that which is invisible, that which God is preparing for you, that which is ahead in your future. Otherwise, you will never get there. Colossians 1:16. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible. Whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities, all things have been created through him and for him. God creates the visible from the invisible, and we need to see the invisible, and then we will begin to see the visible come from that later on as we trust God. And you know what? When you begin to see the invisible, your life changes. Everything about you changes. A strength comes into you. But when you don't see beyond, all you see is the visible. All you see is the natural, and it frustrates you and it angers you. Look at my marriage. Look at my salary. Look at this country. Look at the roads. Look at the people. Look at the whites. Look at the blacks. Look at this. Look at that. And everyone else is happy and they're positive and they're full of faith, and you're like, what's wrong with them? Are they blind? No, they see beyond. Seeing beyond changes you. You're not looking only at the visible. Now, one of the greatest men in the Bible I want to focus on a little bit this morning is Moses. Moses was a man who saw beyond. God got a hold of him. He told him and spoke to him about the future of Israel. He told him about the promised land. He told him about what he would do. And Moses caught a glimpse and saw beyond the visible. They were in slavery. There was a terrible predicament, but he kept his eyes on God. And he hungered after God, and that's why he saw beyond and beyond. In fact, in Exodus 33, it says that Moses asked God to reveal himself to him even more. He said, Lord, I want to know you more. God says, you can't see my face and live. Go in the rock, I'll cover you with my hand, and I'll just show you some of myself. So Moses saw beyond, but wanted more beyond. When I ask you today, do you want to see beyond? Because the more you want, the more you'll get. Because Moses could see beyond, because he could see the invisible, he did many things that we need to do, and you will never be able to do these things unless God opens your spiritual eyes or you restore your spiritual sight as a believer this morning. Let me give you them today. Number 1, the first quality or benefit of seeing beyond is he was able to say yes to the right things and no to the wrong ones. Many Christians can't say yes to the right things. They're constantly saying yes to the wrong things. But when you see beyond, you start saying yes to the right things, and you say no to the wrong things. You start to say no to drugs because you can see a better life, a clearer mind, a healthier life. Isn't that true? So you say no to drugs, and you say yes to a clear head and to serving God. In fact, I want you to write this down, church. Here's a truth. The magnitude of our future vision will always determine the level of our present sacrifice. The size or the magnitude or the expanse of what you can see beyond will determine the level of your present sacrifice or present discipline. You will never discipline yourself unless you have a vision that goes way, way beyond what you're facing in your life. The second thing, he was able to leave success for the best. He saw what God had. He saw the promised land. He was incredibly successful in Egypt. He was the son, as it were, was the adopted son of Pharaoh, and he was in a position of power, but he saw something better than success. Do you know the biggest hindrance to your future is success? Because if you camp at success, you'll never see the best. And Moses was successful, but God had much more.